Hotel chains keep Bibles in the nightstands of the rooms, but this one chain doesn't. And this man named Khalil emailed and said that this was the creepiest job he ever worked. And he had worked front desk jobs at hotels before. So when he took this job as the night shift guy, front desk attendant, he thought it was just going to be like any of the others, answering guest complaints, checking in guests, managing reservations, solving the occasional problem, and basically just scrolling his phone until sunrise. Right? Wrong. He only lasted at this job for 2 weeks, and he wanted to point out that this is not some boutique hotel in the middle of nowhere. This is a major chain that you see off major interstates with identical lobbies, identical carpets. They pride themselves on consistency. It's not a five-star hotel by any means, but it is a hotel that caters to travelers who recognize the brand name. So he does his training, which all takes place in the daytime, and then comes the night where he's going to be managing on his own. The manager is clocking out, and she hands him a laminated piece of paper that has the night shift rules. Glances at it before she leaves, and it seems typical, so he doesn't really look too much into it. It's like no personal visitors, keep the lobby lights dim after 1 a.m., log all maintenance requests before actually calling maintenance, typical stuff. After she leaves, it's like a weeknight, it's slow, he's looking at it again, and there's some rules on there that seem strange. One of them says, don't walk past the mirror near the breakfast buffet after 2 a.m. Another said, if a guest reports whispering from the vents, document it but do not report. And finally, all Bibles must remain locked in the front office. All capitals, it said, do not place them in the guest rooms. The last line threw him because in all of the hotels that he had worked at, they all had Gideon Bibles in the nightstands. It's practically tradition in the hotel industry, and so he sort of makes a mental note to ask about it later. And a little while goes by, he checks a few guests in, no problems, when his supervisor calls the hotel front desk and says, hey, I was just checking in on you, how's your first night going? And he's like, oh, everything's good. Hey, quick question, what's up with the Bibles? Said, I was looking over the rules and it just didn't make sense to me because everywhere else I've worked, we keep them in the rooms. And she just says, oh yeah, it's something corporate policy. We stopped doing that a few years ago. And he's like, why? Because guests steal them, or what's the deal? And she says, no, something else, and changes the subject quickly. She's like, if there's nothing else, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get some sleep. He's like, okay, weird, whatever. Doesn't really think too much else about it. The rest of the shift goes by without problems. The second night he works by himself, no problems. The third night he works by himself around 2 a.m. A guest comes down to the front desk and she's shaking. She seems pale. She seems off. She had already been a guest of the hotel. He did not check her in, but he looks at her. He's like, is everything okay? She's like, no. He's like really polite, but she's like, I'm sorry to bother you, but there is someone talking in my room. I think it's coming from the vents and I think they're saying my name. I can't really make it out. I don't know where it's coming from. It must be the vents. Bill froze because he was like, this was literally on the sheet, and he's like, are there squatters living somewhere in this hotel that they know about and don't want to deal with? Like, what's going on? So he remembers what it says to document it but don't investigate, so he just offers to move her to another room. Makes her a key card for a room on a different floor, and he's like, okay, stay here real quick, I'm gonna go check on it, just make sure everything's good to go. He goes in the room, he comes back, and she's standing by the front office door where the Bibles are. And is on the knob. He's like, ma'am, I have your room ready. Like, you can follow me. I'll take you up there. She's like, I just want to see one page. And he's like, what? And she's like, there are Bibles in there, right? You have Bibles. Can I see one page, please? Looks at her. He's like, ma'am, we don't have Bibles. And she starts saying something to him, but then she stops and she looks around like she's listening for something. And she's like, do you hear them too? Said he stopped and was listening, but he didn't hear anything besides like the ice machine humming down the hall. He says, ma'am, come on, I'll take you to your new room. And she reluctantly follows him. He gets her checked in there. She's all settled, calmed down. He goes back to the front desk and he's sitting there for a little while, and then he gets a call light from one of the rooms, which was the room she had just checked out from. He answers because he's like, there should have been no one else in there. He said as soon as he picked it up, the receiver clicked like someone had hung up. He said he got freaked out at that point and he calls security. He's like, can you go check out this room? I think someone's in there. Security goes, they come back, they're like, the room's clear, there's nobody in there. He's like, okay. He quit 2 weeks later. Early morning, a guest checked out super early from that same room, some kind of traveler who seemed normal enough. Leaves, goes home, sleeps, comes back to work a little bit later for his overnight shift, and the manager's telling him don't check anyone into that room because housekeeping refused to clean it. Afternoon manager was complaining, saying there's nothing wrong with that room. She just said it smelled weird and we're going to have to find somebody else. Like, we're going to get rid of her. We're going to fire her. She's not doing her job. He's like, well, I'm going to go in there and try to figure out what the smell is. And the manager's like, okay, well, if you want to, you can. But I looked, there's nothing in there that smells. Like, I don't know what she's talking about. So he goes to the room. He said he got in there. Everything looked normal. The air conditioner was off, but it smelled fine. It smelled like a hotel room. He caught like a light whiff of something that had been burnt, but it smelled old. Like maybe somebody had been smoking in the room. Again, nothing too out of the ordinary. As he's about to walk out of the room to go back to the front desk, the vent catches his eye because it's been unscrewed on one side and is just slightly hanging. He goes over there, he stands on a chair to get into the vent, opens it up, and finds a half-burnt Bible inside the air duct. But I knew instantly that that's where that smell was coming from. So I reached in with a towel, I pulled it out, the cover was blackened, the pages were like melted together at the corners, but I opened it to one page that was surprisingly not burnt, and he didn't want to read it, but his eyes landed on the verse, and it was Luke 8:31, which said, and they begged them not to send them into the abyss. Bill said he got the worst chills as he read it. He wrapped the Bible in a towel, brought it back down to the front desk, showed the evening manager. She says, put it in the office with all the others. unlocks the door to the office, and there's bins in the corner, which he had never looked in. He just thought it was like paperwork or other supplies or something. She opens one of the bins, and there's dozens of other half-burnt Bibles. But I just got a gut feeling something was wrong. I quit right then and there. I was not going to stick around to find out what was going on. The kicker, he goes back 2 weeks later to pick up his final paycheck, right? It's the evening manager working when he goes in. She tells him something strange. There's a bunch of maintenance people doing things to some of the doors and filing cabinets. He's like, what's going on? She's like, oh, corporate ordered new locks for all of the filing cabinets and doors because all of the Bibles went missing.